All right, welcome everybody. CPI Thursday. Yep, we're gonna talk about inflation today on the program. We have to also continue to talk a little bit about the crypto implosion, and it's confusing. It is. I'm getting your messages. I'm getting your emails. We'll get into that, and I'll tell you what we can do to try to help you out. People that are getting crushed by this at this point in time, and again, a little bit follow up more on the what did Ben Shapiro put out a tweet? He goes, "Red wave, more like red wedding," alluding to Game of Thrones. But anyway, let's talk about it. October inflation report. Prices up 7.7% from a year earlier. Down from what they thought it was going to be. And so the market's off to the races. I'll timestamp. Okay. It's after 12 o'clock and markets are through the roof based upon this number. Will it pair off later on in the afternoon? I don't know. I don't know. Inflation in certain aspects is coming down. We know this already. I don't know if the Fed does. That's the thing. I don't know if the Fed does. The Fed, the numbers that they look at the CPI and how it's calculated. They're not calculating, and I mentioned this before, truly what is happening in rentals, truly what is happening in real estate. We've talked here on the program about autos, the amount of repos that are taking place at this point in time, used cars coming down. Yes, there are other aspects, the bare necessities, food's still high, energy is still high. A lot of part of the service economy is still high, and that has to do with labor. I get all of that. But those things that I just mentioned, what the hell can the Fed do outside of blowing up the economy to fix it? They can't. They can't fix that. Yeah, prices are coming down. I just watched an interview with, again, mentor, guy I mentioned here on the program. I mentioned the Benjamin Grahams, the Warren Buffetts of the world, the Charlie Mungers, the Jeremy Siegels of the world, professor at Wharton School. And he's like, if the Fed actually factored in truly what the real estate numbers are, the way they are now, not in the past, these backwards looking numbers, he's saying that core inflation is actually negative based upon that. That's how far it's collapsed. You've had a couple of members of the Fed come out, glad to see inflation down, but we're still concerned. The risk is if we don't stay tight right now, that inflation will come back. And, they use some historical precedent back to the 1970s. But the Fed, to me, it's like a weatherman. It's like a weatherman who gives you yesterday's forecast. It tells you what the weather was yesterday. I don't really understand it. I don't. And one of the lessons to take away from this, when it comes to your portfolio, they always say that saying there: "Don't fight the Fed. Don't fight the Fed." What are you, a freaking trader? You're going to trade the Fed? You think you know what's going to happen? This is the same Fed that told you that there was no problem in the housing market back in 2008, 2009. Same Fed that didn't raise margin requirements when everybody was buying stocks on margin in the run up to the dot-coms, inflating that. Same Fed, raising rates when they didn't need to, taper, tantrum. One thing after another, one mistake after another. Same Fed telling you that inflation was transitory. And you're going to trade that? You can't. You can't. And this is why I constantly go back to what we do here on the program, trying to get people to get their financial plans or preparation, if you will, done the right way. We don't trade the Fed. I'm not changing. Not changing my philosophy. I'm not changing the companies in our portfolio based upon 400 economists that have never had a real job. I know more than them about the quality of a company. Sure, can they wreak havoc over the short term? Absolutely, but I'm not in it for the short term, and neither should you. If you're in it for the short term, you're a trader. I don't even know why you're listening to me, for crying out loud. Go try to guess what's going to happen next. See how that works out for you. Anyway, interesting too. Real quickly before we move on to the next topic. I think the next CPI print, I was looking at it, is the day before the Fed meets in December. Be interesting to say the least. All right. I'm pulled back a story that I mentioned that I was yelling and screaming about. Maybe it was a week or two ago here on the program. The fact that they're now going to be allowing 401k plans, allowing people to put their money into cryptos. Now, listen, I am, less is more when it comes to regulations, but this is not going to end well. It isn't. People are going to do really stupid things with their portfolio. It was kind of like when they instituted in 401ks where you could, move in and out of mutual funds on the same day. And I'm saying to myself, that's what you want. That's what we want people to do. You want them trading mutual funds. Again, we are so illiterate in this country. We are, when it comes to money, when it comes to finances, when it comes to the markets. It really is. They don't teach it to kids in schools. They don't. They got to take it. My daughter's taking AP economics right now. It's an elective. Why is that an elective? Isn't it important people understand how money works? And if they do things the right way and they handle their money properly, how it can bode well for them, understanding the power of compounding and how it can work for you and how it can work against you. Just saying. Anyway, and I also, Tyler, my Bitcoin and 401ks. What was the story from this about a week ago? A crypto scam launches every 4 minutes. Every 4 minutes, there's another crypto scam. Okay. This is Andy Kessler. He doesn't usually put out a piece on Thursday. But again, we kind of bounce back and forth in many of our thought process is oftentimes aligned. He's a columnist for the Wall Street Journal, and I highlight his stuff here. He did a piece today, FTX and Binance, another nail in the crypto coffin. This guy, by the way, this Sam Bankman-Fried, do you understand how arrogant this son of a bitch is? This guy is, I'm giving $1 billion to Democrats in the 2024 presidential election. That's what he said. He's going to give that. Not only that, he actually said that one day his company is going to buy Goldman Sachs. Who the flip do you think you are? Who? I mean, you run a crypto business, which is based on air. Nothing. There's no intrinsic value to it. Anyway, I'm going to try to keep my cool here. Kessler says, my beef with the crypto market has always been that it is backed by nothing but air. Yeah. At any moment, the support could disappear. It's people. This is the nature of any pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme. And we've called out many of them. Like I said, I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know that Madoff was a Ponzi scheme. I just knew that something wasn't right, and he was fudging the numbers. The point where Madoff was blowing up. They had the financial crisis. People were losing money and certain assets, and they wanted to take their money out of Madoff because it was so far up and profitable. So they were taking, they said, well, where I'm up in this, I'm down in these investments, so I'll sell the ones that I'm up in, but they weren't really up. It was all a fugazi. It was all air. That's all it was. So anyway, Ken Langone, and I love Ken Langone, a guy we talk about often here on the program, true business leader, philanthropist. He gets invited. He's invited. Madoff is starting a new fund, a special fund, and he's got some new proprietary trading that is going to allow only certain people to get into this fund and get this level of return. And right away, because Ken Langone is a honorable man, a good man, spotted. He said, what the hell? He said, what do I do? What did I do to deserve a higher level of return than your existing clients that have been with you for an extended period of time? And he smelled a rat right away. And Madoff didn't get the funds, and the Ponzi scheme collapsed. Anyway, this is what happened. FTX, this crypto, whatever the hell it is, they have a sister company called Alameda. They were making loans against billions in an FTX token. I hate that word token now. I did the word I remember the tokens you used to have when you back in the 80s when you went to go play Pac-Man. You'd put your money in and you get tokens so you could play bloody video arcade games back then. Or back when I lived in New York City and they had Subway tokens. They were actually useful. I could actually exchange money, buy a token, and then go ahead and play Pac-Man or get on a ride on a subway. These tokens, anyway, this token, FTT, was at 80, had a value, 9.5 billion, based on what? Air. Was down to $22 on Monday. I don't even know where it is today. I think it was at 2 or 3 last time I checked. FTX falling apart, we're going to get bought by Binance. Yeah. Binance doesn't have the funds. Their stuff's collapsing too. 4 months ago, this Bankman-Fried said that the worst of the crypto crisis was over and that FTX had a few $1 billion to bail out other failed crypto companies. Now, Binance, which was supposed to buy FTX but backed out, is backed by its token, which is BNB. They say that's it was worth $106 billion based upon what? Air. Now it's worth $45 billion. People. Everything in life that has meaning, value, and worth involves work, time, and effort. I say it again and again and again, more often on the radio show than I do this podcast. Stop looking for quick and easy fixes. You have to stop at some point in time. You do. And I'm being honest because, again, I deal with the cleanup on aisle 4. And it's what I've been doing with my entire career is dealing with these things. And when it comes to this, you're done. I can't help you. You're finding a difficult time even getting your money out. And many of these things, I can't help you. Okay. What you have to do is you got to start over. And when you start over, you got to do things the right way. And you got to build up over time. I'm looking at all these supposed smart money out there. Oh, BlackRock, Ontario Pension Fund. How about that? Did you know, hey, school teachers and firefighters in Ontario, that your pension fund manager was putting you into air, was buying you air? Sequoia, Paradigm, Tiger Global, SoftBank. It's a long list. This smart money going into this. I thought about it, popped into my head today. I don't remember this from my kids. I read kids' stories all the time. But we didn't do much Winnie the Pooh. I don't remember much Winnie the Pooh from when I was a kid either. I just knew that his Christopher Robin, because his name was Christopher. But anyway, I do remember in the movie Wall Street. When Gordon Gekko was telling Bud Fox the reason why he decided to sandbag the Blue Star deal. He thought about it. He was reading his kid some story, Winnie Pooh and the Honey Pot. And Winnie the Pooh stuck his head into the honey pot too many times and it got stuck and he couldn't get out. A lot of these, quote unquote, smart money managers out there, holier than thou, charging exorbitant fees. They think that they're so smart that they've made money riding some of these waves. They think that it can go on forever when it can't. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, I wrote a column, and I'll mention this weekend on the program. This is 10, 11 years ago. Title comes Time to Get Medieval. And I was alluding to the movie Pulp Fiction and Marcellus Wallace in the movie after he was violently raped. It was such a great scene. And he says, I got to get some of my boys back here and go medieval on their asses. And you go to the Code of Hammurabi, you can go to medieval Europe, and you go back. You're talking Mesopotamia. It's 3,700 years ago. They actually had commodity futures markets back then. I kid you not. You couldn't lie, cheat, and steal. What's going to happen with this whole crypto thing here? Nothing. I find it fascinating. Kim Kardashian will pay in my opinion, a larger price. What she had to pay, I don't know, $1.2 million because she put out a tweet. I don't know, it was a tweet, I don't know, it was Snapchat on social media about this crypto that somebody told her about that she was putting money in, and people lost money, went down 99%. What are they going to do? What do they do? Gary Gensler from the SEC was on CNBC this morning, and my jaw almost dropped. He basically, we can't do anything. SEC can't do a damn. It was Pontius Pilate washing his hands. I wash my hands of this. That's basically what they're doing. You're on your own. You're on your own, which is fine. I call it economic Darwinism. At some point in time, you got to use your head. Anyway, you know what? Let's get into some of the political stuff. Again, I know I've been going off on Donald Trump, and you go right across the editorial board. Take a look at the front page of the New York Post today. Trumpty Dumpty, they called it. Editorial board, Wall Street Journal. Trump is the Republican Party's biggest loser, and they go through. They go through, and all of these people that Trump supported, and just the utter failure that they have been. And I'm going to get into Ann Coulter's piece. I haven't talked about Ann in a while, but I like the way that she writes. Anyway, and how about this? How many people remember Operation Chaos with Rush Limbaugh? Back in 2000, 2008, it's Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. And Rush does this thing on his radio show. He wanted to get the Democrats to have to spend more and more money. He wanted to keep Hillary Clinton in the race. So he was telling Republicans to change their affiliation to Democrat and vote in the primaries to keep Hillary in the race. It was called Operation Chaos. And oh my God, the left went nuts. Oh, terrible. Look what Rush is doing, is meddling in these elections. Well, all of the Democrats again, they were more effective, okay, because Rush did the Operation Chaos and it'll make a difference. Obama still won. Democrats' strategy of spending millions to boost. Democratic groups spending money on Trump-endorsed candidates. Paid off. All of the candidates that they helped to become candidates in the primary lost. Here is Ann Coulter. Biggest winner. And again, Ann Coulter was a big Donald Trump supporter for a period of time. And again, I voted for the guy too. Ron DeSantis in Florida and Brian Kemp in Georgia, the two Republicans Donald Trump hates with hot hate of 1,000 suns. They were the biggest winners. Which Republicans most underperformed? Doug Mastriano and Herschel Walker. The first horror of a long Tuesday night came soon after the polls closed in Pennsylvania, with the GOP gubernatorial nominee, Mastriano, getting clobbered. Some of the tip-offs that Mastriano might not have been the strongest candidate for the GOP were: a week before the primary, he spoke at a QAnon rally featuring a film claiming 9/11 was an inside job and that John F. Kennedy was assassinated because he knew too much. He called abortion the number one issue, promised to ban all abortions with no exceptions, even for rape, incest, or the life of the mother. He also said women who violated the ban should be charged with murder. He vowed to deregister all Pennsylvania voters and make them re-register to vote, and said that as governor, he would choose who was allowed to certify elections. Yeah, Trump endorsed him. He lost 42% to 55%. Do you think that helped Dr. Oz? I can go on with Ann's piece, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here on the program. I really don't. And there's other issues when it comes to this, election. And I see some points of people. Well, Chris, we got this going on in the country and this left wing. Listen. Look at what people were saying. What were their biggest concerns? This is it. Okay. What were their biggest concerns? Biggest concerns were what? Inflation, high cost of living, crime across the board. That was overwhelmingly. What did the Republican Party offer to solve those problems? They pointed them out. Kind of like Clark Griswold going around the circle, European vacation. Look, kids, big bad parliament. Oh, look, kids, inflation, crime, again and again and again. Nothing to solve the problem. Again, throwing this out here before we go for the day. Mike Pence got a book coming out. Opinion piece, Wall Street Journal. Just go read it. My Last Days with Donald Trump. Just have a read. Another one as well. Ron Johnson talking about he won in Wisconsin. It was very tight. Talking about the great opportunity that was wasted this time around, and talks about, again, the failure to do anything to solve problems, to put forth a legislative agenda. That the Senate Republican is part of, they're supposed to put forward a legislative agenda. They haven't done it in decades. Anyway, have a great day, buddy. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. We'll see you.